Hmm. So good evening all. Thank you for joining us for our 49th IDC Alumni Talk. Thank you, Satyajit, for taking the time to talk to us. I have the pleasure of introducing you. After MDes in 1995, you started your career designing watches and jewelry with Titan. You then moved into the luggage industry. Soon, this was followed by your launching Rubberband, a studio based in Goa. In 2018, you launched a sustainable design brand called Bandit. You have received 4 design awards, Lexus Design Award India being one of them. With that brief introduction, over to you, Satyajit.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Nimish. It's always a pleasure getting back and talking to everyone from IDC. So I'm just going to jump straight into bits and bumps of what I do. You've already mentioned, but most importantly, and the basis of this conversation or this talk is Bandit. Started this in 2018 December, but the thought behind it went in much before that. We started. I'll come to that in a minute, but we started making bags from tarpaulin. The germ of the idea actually was flying into Bombay, Bombay, during the monsoon, and this is what you see, right? You see a sea of blue tarpaulin, and I've been toying with the idea of doing something different, something unique, and this was like a boom moment where I said, why not use a very common material and make something really stylish and sexy out of it. We normally associate designs which are sustainable, which are, it's become a bit of a bad word now because everything is organic or sustainable. But we normally associate sustainable design with a lot of handmade or, not necessarily a super high-tech finished product. When about a year or year and a half before I launched Bandit, of course, did a lot of research, studies about the materials, etc., and came up with this bag. So as ordinary as the material would be, the bag itself has been designed for manufacture. It's very simple from a brand identity point. It's clean, simple. You can spot a Bandit pretty much everywhere. Now we are close to almost 90% upcycle the materials, including the straps, which are made from car seat belts. The inner lining is from PET bottles, and as a design thought, I kept the design. All our bags look exactly the same, right? Instead of getting into multiple SKUs, etc. All the bags look the same, but we play a lot with materials. Tarpaulin being one of the main ones. Also moved into other materials like canvases, which are thrown away, which is from the old army canvases. This is a material called Tyvek, which you normally, you make a lot of PPE kits with this recently. But otherwise, it was that annoying visiting card which never used to tear. That's exactly what it is. It's a product by DuPont. It's really tough. Like all the bags which we have are really light. They're about 400 grams, that's it, but it can carry up to 7 to 8 kilos. So the idea was to create a design which is, of course, functional, of course, strong. It ticks all the boxes. You can carry loads of weight. But from a look perspective, it was very unique in its shape, in its functionality. It didn't have your traditional, pockets on the side, etc. But I wanted something which you could recognize from far away, no matter where you were, and literally what country you were, you could recognize. Then we've had a little bit of success in that. The other thing was to also associate this kind of a sustainable design with a much younger audience, and hence affordable as well. So the idea of being good looking, sexy, and affordable was a bit of a challenge because, yeah, it gets a little tough trying to figure all these three things out, especially with limited quantities of manufacturing, in terms of MOQs and stuff. So we're getting into small things like messenger bags. Um, uh, we've got into designing skating bags for skaters as well. Uh, but the association with a much younger crowd has always been the direction to go, including the name Bandit. And in a lot of ways, it conjures of images of Veerappan to uh, all of the above. But I think it was more of a nice Bandit. It's more underground. Um, uh, it's more fun. It's got an honestness to it, and that's what the brand speaks about. So as we moved ahead, we started getting into products like these, which are yoga mat bags. Also because yoga is associated with a simpler life. Technically, I know it's not but that's the original thought process. So we said, let's get into this space as well. If you've seen the couple of bags SKUs that I've shown, they all have a very similar brand look, so to say, and that was very, very intentional. The material that we get or the colors that we get are not dependent. We can't have a choice of colors. So whatever is available of excess from these big, large factories is what we pick up. We also we've been experimenting with a whole series of designs in that whole space. These were ponchos which actually were designed by the Wendell Rodriguez design team. But the graphics were done by a graffiti artist. So we are slowly getting into the space of ponchos as well, which is, really simple, clean designs. But you actually use that entire space of the front or the back or both as an artwork. So it's the idea was to carry what you say as wearable art in that sense. Speaking of which, that's a typical waist pouch. It's very different in terms of style from what your regular fanny packs have. This particular one was inspired by a very close friend who is a graffiti artist, and so all of them normally carry spray cans, right? And this actually fits in 3 spray cans, pack of cigarettes, smokes, keys, mobile phone, and it was made for his and his crew in that sense. But I think it's picked up speed in terms of sales because it's very comfortable, it's voluminous. You can also put it across your chest. One of the key things about the brand Bandit, apart from sustainability, is collaborations. I think that's something which right since inception, we've been collaborating with artists, we've been collaborating with musicians, we've been collaborating a lot with other designers as well. And as we go ahead, you'll see what I'm talking about. So we always have we commission at least a couple, 2 to 3 artists in a year to do a series of artworks for us, which we then in turn take it onto our bags, into other products as well. This is done by the same graffiti artist, tattooist called Flying Monkey. He's Goa-based, and that's his sketch. This is another graphic which was done by Reggie Govias, again, a local artist, very manga design stuff. What's interesting is that a lot of these graphics which are commissioned are also, how do you say, specific to, it needs to be unique, but they also are trend setting. So a lot of fashion, what is going on in the fashion world, what colors are going on, what kind of artwork lines will work in a sense. So I wouldn't say trend setting, trend analysis, but we're aware of what direction it needs to go into. So I mean, apart from the functionality, at the back of my mind, there's always a constant thing about it has to be stylish and it has to be sexy. what I think it's always fantastic for a designer to win awards, and these were the 4 awards which we were actually very young because we started December 2018, so not even 4 years, considering 2 years of COVID kind of. Yeah, we're still 2 years young, and in those 2 years, we've got Design Intelligence Award in Shanghai, the Lexus Design 2021, and the bottom right one, the circular one, is it's a circular design challenge at by the Lakme Fashion Week, which is a big one for us. Coincidentally, the trophy was designed by me. The trophy is made from it's made from entirely from waste materials. So if you see, there are about 11 odd materials, and they have been and then it's been CNC machined and stuff, and how it's fixed out. But all of it is waste. So it was a good feeling to design this trophy. This was made by Fomo Design, Chandrasekhar's team. They did a fantastic job of being able to physically manufacture what I could think of. So and that again comes back to the same what I said earlier, is about collaborations and working with with people that they can actually come and deliver and do some really fun stuff. This is in May, mid of May, May 15th. I had my first design show in Bombay. It was called Future is Now, and it was a sustainable design show about the products that I've designed and the collaborations that I've done with. Because the future is now. There is no tomorrow unless we take sustainability onto a different level. So the ethics of sustainability is all there, correct? But unless the mainstream public does not buy into it and buy the products and wear it on an everyday basis, it's not going to succeed. So the future is now. And these are a few images. So it was not just about the products which I have designed with and collaborations, but it also was installations about how these products will be displayed. So whether it was the bags that we do, whether it was the clocks that were made, or the fountain pens, they all had a little feeling to it. Like there was a bar accessory called, it's a peg measure, which in the process of patenting it. And so the whole idea was to recreate a bar, and kind of people need to feel, okay, it's coming out wrong, but people need to feel the need to drink when you see it, right? So the whole installation was about that. These are specific 5 products that we have moved from bags into these very recently. These were launched during the show. The first one is Shorai. Shorai in Japanese means the future. And the future here, what they talk about, and Japanese, they have specific, it's very, very clear it's about this or that, So in this case, the Shorai means the future that is definitely going to happen, not the future that might be. But that's the concept and the thought behind it. What I've used here is a juxtaposition of 2 materials which are quite different from each other. There is aluminum on one hand, which is so common, which is cheap. And then on the other side, I'm using gold, which is expensive, exclusive. So how do you kind of get these 2 together? The aluminum, sorry, I completely forgot. So the story behind this aluminum and aircrafts happened literally by chance, meeting up a friend who's, after almost 15, 20 years, who repairs old Cessnas. So he had access to aluminum and other waste while he's, making parts for these aircraft. So he said, listen, why don't you pop in? And that's how it started. And so the aluminum, which is made from, for this entire collection of jewelry, is made from aircraft aluminum. So whether it's waste from the larger sections of seats to other parts. So we actually CNC machine them out into small cubes. These cubes are tiny. They're about 5 mm by 5 mm by 5 mm. And they're matched with a 5 mm by 5 mm by 5 mm gold cube. Yes, they are expensive. This was in collaboration with a brand called Moksh in Bombay, old friends. They put the money, of course. I don't have that money to go into it, but it was good. We were fortunate because of the Wendell connection. Farooq Chotia, the big daddy of fashion back in the day, he shot the jewelry for us. We were written about this particular collection in the June issue of Wallpaper UK, which I was so happy because I've been reading Wallpaper since forever, and to be featured in that was really thankful for that. So yeah, Shirai is a big collection. We're now expanding the collection and into different materials as well. This is a fountain pen which was designed with Praveen Marigudi. Many of you guys know him. So we've done this pen together. Again, the whole idea of it came in from pen is mightier than the sword. We are making pens from used fired artillery shells, from wood from old handloom spindles, and aluminum from aircrafts, which is used in aircrafts and which is, waste and scrap. This pen, again, it's again like the bag, I'm going to go back a slide, sorry. If you go back to the jewelry piece, it's built for manufacture. It's simple cubes which can be attached. It's built for manufacture. Similarly, the pen itself is also very simple, clean, minimalist lines built for manufacture. The core is a German core, which kind of makes the whole thing perfect in that sense. In both these cases, we celebrate the material. The machined groove is left the way it is, so you actually see the cutting edge of the machine. So it's also about celebrating the material as we go forward. Having gone into the aircraft and have visited aircraft junkyards, yes, they do exist in India. So these are all old gauges from old MiGs and old Aeros and all kinds of aircrafts, actually. So we pick them up, we clean it up, keep the entire mechanism same. All the labels are exactly the same. The dial is exactly the same. Of course, we change the mechanism to a more quartz, more user-friendly. But yeah, these are the series of limited edition timepieces called the cockpit. The other direction, getting into not sustainable, but reclaimed product is installations. Yogesh just mentioned about installations. So this is a light installation inspired by Medusa, the Greek mythological monster who had snakes instead of in her hair, and anyone who saw her would turn to snow. So that was the inspiration. These tubes are made, they're actually, they're all small high tensile tubes which go into the aircraft for fuel, for oil and stuff like that. So I have access to those, and these, and the tips of these were the LED lights, and yeah, we've created a series of these Medusas and light installations using these tubes. This is the one which I was talking about. This is about this is a peg measure which hopefully will get patented. It's in the process. So it's very simple. It's a conical. It's a cone, a truncated cone which you put, because of the shape, it fits onto any glass. On the top left, you can see a little a plunger which goes in, which is a solid one. It's got markings. You put it in. You pour the drink in till whatever the mark, 30, 60, 90, 120. And yeah, you lift it and the drink falls straight in to the glass, as against your normal jigger, which is, you have to fill it, it spills over. It's more of a conversation piece, it's not necessary. It's made from excess steel, very Bauhaus, furniture inspired looking piece, which is there. And yeah, and this is where we are going next. We are heading to the Kochi Biennale. and we're going to be there with our installations and our new products for starting December 13th on for 4 months till April. So yeah, hope to see you guys there, and we're going to have some more fun with this show as well. Yep. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
So Satyajit, you want to show that film that you had?
Oh, sorry. Thanks. I forgot about that. Sorry. So we also when we won the Lakme Fashion Week, we were asked to do a film with a new collection. So I was happy that we also got to see we got to make our own film. So I just put that on. It's a 4-minute film. Okay, can you see it? Hi, can you see this, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see them.
There's no sound.
Yeah, but we can't hear that.
There's no sound, Satya.
1 second, hang on. How do I get the sound in? It's on YouTube, so any help
Yeah, I
out
think
there?
sound might be a little bit of problem, but yeah, maybe you can just speak over as it is, or visuals are nice enough.
Okay, fair enough.
Satya, I think you need to unshare, and when you share it again, you will have to check the sound on for the tab. So
Okay. Okay. Hang on, let me try that. Sorry about that. So I say stop presenting, and
when you reshare, you'll get an option of share the sound as well.
okay. Okay, I'm going to try it. If it doesn't, we'll just see the film, and because it also has an original soundtrack. So this is like a day in the life of 4 skaters. What they do, how they and why that, just to showcase our new collection. It was fun. It was fun doing this film. First time I've done a film. So. So that's the guy, Shrey, whose artwork that we're using as well. Yeah, sorry. I don't know if you could hear the sound, but
Yeah, I couldn't hear the sound, but yeah, the visuals were nice.
okay. Yeah. No, it was fun. It was fun doing it. I think it's the soundtrack was by a couple of guys from Chennai as well. A lot of hip hop and street sound.
Okay. So we have the floor now open for
Sorry.
questions.
I think. Hang on. Okay, sorry. There was some stuff going.
Okay, you thought the sound suddenly appeared, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, great. So lovely to see your journey and your products. So team, friends, floor is open for questions. Ankur, yes, go ahead. Ankur just left. Okay, sorry. So anybody who has a question can raise their hand and we can go with that. So while you're waiting for questions, I think Satyajit, I love the fact that the experimentation that you have done, which is at the confluence of art and design, which is quite interesting. And I think we have at least one of our profs here. And I remember, a lot of profs at IDC would kind of frown at it, if I may say so. Would love to get their perspectives as well here, while we are at it.
Yeah, for me, I think in a sense, I've always wanted to cross that line, but I think it's important to be on the design side. You can always cross over on the other side and come back. I think for me, it's been great fun, yeah. And I think that's the journey or direction which I would definitely take it forward even more.
Right. And what's the kind of response that you have got? So you exhibited in a gallery, and I understand you were the first one in that gallery to be exhibited. So what was the response? And because I once exhibited in an art gallery at Bajaj Bhavan at Nariman Point once, long back, and I think over a period of 1 week, maybe there are maybe 7 people walked in. So I sat there from morning to evening and nothing happened. So it was my printmaking stuff that I had shown. Obviously, they didn't market it. Or that's what fine art is like. But what was it for you?
So a couple of things happened. One was that this is a brand new design gallery. It wasn't an art gallery in that sense, which is opened in collaboration. One of the bigger gallery owners, so to say, right? And a lady called Sheila Chatterjee, she runs something called Borough Market. She's actually a big one she's a ad film producer. She's married to Mahesh Mathai, etc. And she comes with a massive background of promoting artists, art, so on and so forth. So when she requested me to do the opening show, and I did it within a short period of 2 months, she also had the backing of people, social media to push it and get people in as well. It was also, that was one. Secondly, it was located in Kotachiwadi, which is, if a lot of guys, if you know or don't know, but this is like a heritage space in Bombay. It's like a little mini Goa in Girgaon in that sense. And they themselves having a lot of stuff happening in Kotachiwadi. They have a Kotachiwadi weekend where local food, etc., etc. So I think a combination of this, and it was a great show. I think it was great because coming from Goa, it's nice to come back to Bombay, into the big city, and see all the buzz, the conversation, and people buying as well. No? I think that's something which also, because we all need to make money at the end of it as well. So I think it also got me out of my shell in that sense. And it got me down to wanting to do a lot more. You meet so many interesting people, whether it's from the art world or even normal people walking down Kotachiwadi, stopping and saying, why the hell is this picture of an aircraft outside here, And I think that's the big connection which happens and inspires you to do a lot more.
So you mentioned some commercial aspect. What was, did you guys sell anything there? What was it like?
So yes, it was. So we had 5 products. We had the jewelry, we had the bags, of course, we had the pens, we had the clocks, and we had the peg measure. So all
Okay.
these were in various stages of development in that sense, and all were for sale. So people, the crazier lot did buy a few of the jewelry pieces, which was good. But it was for sale, and here the point was this, that the idea was that it was a design show, but it was also a product design show where you could buy the pieces or book the pieces.
Okay.
You know, it was not just to come and see and say, oh, it's good, or it's not just an art show. So I think that's where the difference was, in a way.
Sure. So Kochi Biennale would be different, I guess.
Kochi Biennale would be different. I think it will be more, we would definitely sell from there, but I would collaborate with many more artists, at least 3 more artists, and it'll be a lot more about installations. I think dipping a little bit more into the art space during the Biennale. But I think the interesting part would be that even while doing the installations, because I'm going to be using, let's say, aircraft parts or old bottles and so on and so forth, how am I going to construct it? So there's a lot of design which would go into it as well, you know. I'm looking forward to it because that's my first time I'll be showing at the Biennale. And guys who've been there, you know how beautiful it is. It was 2019 was the last one, no? Yeah.
Okay, all the best for that. With that, Ankur, over to you. What's your question?
Yes, thanks. So I was curious, when you work on upcycled materials, how do you solve for consistency in the quality, the kind of products, as in the kind of material, as well as the scale? As in, would you always get it when you need it? Let's say if you get too many orders, would there be consistency in logistics as well? How do you plan for that? Or how does one plan for it?
So different pieces, different materials, different problems. Let's say in tarpaulin, we pick up the waste or the excess which comes out from the big factory. So we don't have control over quantity, we don't have control over color, but we do have control over quality because we ensure that it goes through those tests, and whether it's UV protected, whether it's got a particular GSM, so on and so forth. But yes, they come with stains, they come with marks, but we sell it as a part of the beast. That's how it is, and I guess that's the reason why we're not in the volumes game in that sense, but we do just enough. And if the color runs out, we just discontinue it till we get a new one. In case of materials like stuff from aircrafts or aluminum and pieces like this, I think, that's what makes it unique. We're in a space which is not one-off, but limited. And that's what gathers more attention, or people, they want something unique as well, right? And if you can give them something which is upcycled, reclaimed in a very stylish way, yeah. We've been around for a very short time, so I guess time will tell as to how this really progresses. But purely from a design point of view, I think it's great fun. It's a great challenge, and you can.
Yeah, I think from a niche brand perspective, or if you have a specific range that you're bringing out, yes, that scarcity sort of accentuates the value. But let's say if there had to be a circular brand, like a mass brand who wanted to use upcycled materials, then how would they go about it? Like, have you studied that, or
yeah. So in a parallel way, what we're trying to do is use flex, right? Flex from billboards. So flex from billboards is something which is a complete waste once it gets printed in a lot of ways. Of course, people use it for using on top of as roofing material, etc., etc. But I think that's where what you're saying in terms of a circularity of it, how it can come in. We try and combine materials together. Let's not keep it pure in the case of flex, we combine it with a waste canvas at the back, or with cotton waste, a fabric waste which comes in. we stitch it in a certain way so that it will not get affected by long-term use, and so on. So, for example, we're in talks with someone from the big supermarkets, right? Instead of using plastic bags and stuff like that, we're trying to create this, but it's a lot more tougher because we're still going through a lot of tests and stuff like that. So to answer your question, I think, well, I don't have an answer to that. Yeah, it's an ongoing process, and yeah, we're probably going to see where it reaches.
Yeah. But for sure, as in kudos on the design. Very, very trendy. I really hope that they turn mass market at least. In the north, I haven't seen Bandit products in and around being used. Probably Goa has that trend that people are using it, so maybe more people are buying it. But we'd love to see it in person in here.
Okay,
and
thanks.
See how it goes. So all the best.
Thanks, Ankur. Thank you so much.
Professor Thankar, over to you.
Hi,
Hello,
sir.
sir.
Hi. I'm doing good, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to see those products again.
Yeah, thanks for coming for the show. I think it was a massive boost to see you guys there as well. So thanks. Yeah.
I have one question.
Hmm.
What extent there's a transition you're thinking because you shifted to Goa, and has Goa influenced you?
A very, very interesting one, and I think that's I completely forgot to mention that. So I'm from Bombay originally, and then moved about almost 14, 15 years ago. And we stay in a small village. So moving from Bombay to a village itself was a complete game changer. So when I did move in there, and I'm still here, is you start thinking a lot more differently, right? Whether that there's no electricity all the time, there's no garbage. Even today, there is no daily garbage collection. Swiggy came into our lives last year because of the pandemic. So there is no home deliveries, and so on and so forth. So I think on every step of the way, while we lived our lives here, we think consciously, we think how to make it more sustainable, how to be, I don't know, on a different note, be kinder and gentler to the person next to you, and so on and so forth. I think so. Moving, having lived here, having moved here, was a big change. I think generally in terms of behavioral temperament, sensibilities of design as well. And on a completely different note, there was a huge but discrete design community here, which all cared a lot about the environment, which cared about all of these things. So you kind of get influenced by that as well. So I think that was a big change, in a way, why I got into this. In fact, I'll be honest with you, Professor, is that, back in the day, you guys always had this thing about, or at least 10 years back, everyone spoke about sustainability as professors, but I had no clue what that. It just sounded like an alien word, and I had no idea what it was as recent as 10, 15 years back, So I think that's a big change which has happened to me because of being so, and I pretty much owe everything to being here in that sense.
Ravi.
No more hands or legs.
Ravi. Yes.
Hi, Ravi.
He won't leave you like that. Yeah, two questions I have. One is, first of all, it's very inspiring, Satya. It's, to make a fashion out of statement out of products, the ones that you showed is amazing. One is, how are these products actually getting sold? And question number two is, you have a wide range from bags to pens to jewelry. how does a studio manage something which is so diverse like this? You can throw some light on how do you manage those?
Okay, I couldn't hear the first part of the question, so if you could tell me that again, please.
First one is how are these products reaching the market? For example, if some bank
Okay. Okay, so the first part of the question, I think we've got a small retail presence which is across India. We are in retail stores in Bombay, in Goa, and Kochi, and Ahmedabad, and stuff like that. So there is a small retail. We're online with. We've got our own online store on the website. We also have about 4 to 5, what do they call them? The sustainable platforms which we associate ourselves with. And that's how we get most of our revenues. I mean, to be fair, it's a unique product and certain kind of people will buy it. So it's not, and I refuse to go onto Amazon because I don't want it to become, go in that direction for various reasons. So yeah, it takes us time for it to build up those volumes and stuff like that. But the bigger satisfaction is that having able to go into other line of products as well. I think bags, etc., even as a price point, it's a more it's a more like a price point starts at 2,500, which is a more affordable price point. The moment you go into, let's say, jewelry, it's a different price point entirely. And although I'm doing it with collaboration with someone, obviously there are commercials involved. That gets a different kind of a reach. So if the jewelry guy has got its own stores, it's got its own markets internationally, it gets sold there. So I think it gets a completely different reach. You know, the second part of the question, I don't have a studio. If what you see here, this dark space behind, is where I work out of. I typically have a couple of interns, and this was mostly pre-COVID in that sense, had a couple of them, literally 2 or 3 maximum, who come and spend time and, you know, do stuff. Most of the stuff is with collaborations. Most of the stuff is, I've had, whatever, 30, 40 odd interns, so I know who's good, who's bad, who's ugly, so I know who does what where. So I kind of associate with them. Let's say if it's a research project, associate with them wherever they're sitting. They come down to Goa, we work on it, and it delivers. And in terms of design, it's collaborations with various designers with a similar mindset, similar love and passion, and yeah, and I guess my own little brain, which kind of, you know, does that. I think that's how, working wise, that's how it functions. Yeah.
Good, thank you, Satya.
No, thanks.
Thanks, Ravi. So Namrata, over to you.
Yeah, this is Meenal Kavle. Yeah, I just want to know that, see, we're living in a time where a lot of the waste from any process is massive. Especially, I'm an architect, so the construction industry generates massive amount of waste.
Mm-hmm.
So the downcycling or whatever, upcycling downstream, I would say, not downcycling, upcycling downstream also has to be on products which are, you know, bulk, which will be used in bulk, which will be used, you know, across the sections of society, no niche products. That's the only way of managing that volume of,
Right.
You know, that the waste that is generated. What would a product designer like you, do you think about this? You know, so because, like, okay, you're making beautiful pens out of aircraft.
Right. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
So how as designers, architects, designers, whoever, how do we focus on bulk usage of this huge mountains of waste that we are creating? Do you think about this?
Yeah. So I see it. I get your question, and I get this question a lot in that sense. So I see it in multiple ways, right? I see that on a personal level, I might work on, let's say, tarpaulin. I'm working on flex. I'm also working, incidentally, on used concrete, right? As in the concrete which has been while demolishing, you get the waste which comes out. So the thought is there, the ideas are there, the process is already on in that sense. But I also think that for how do you say, for the idea of sustainability, the idea of upcycling, reclaiming, whatever you want to call it, it also needs to get into a space where people are on an everyday use as well, you know. So whether it's, I mean, I can't say jewelry is something which a lot of the purists will say, listen, you know, that's hardly upcycling, but it's an expression of thought in a way. I feel that it needs to be done. There are lots of people doing it. I do it myself, and I think it's a process which will take its time, and it needs to be done mass. There's no doubt about it. There's absolutely no doubt about it. It's still a long way off here, you know. And I think I deal with it in ways which I think probably will help people at least accept the fact that this is needed, you know. I'm not sure if I'm answering it. It's a tough one, but
no, at least if we can come up with packaging design for, say, packaging for tiles or packaging for, you know, or puff panel packaging, just packaging design,
right,
which is a complete disaster. You know, it's massive amount of packaging gets left over at site, which just ends up in, like, you know, it's huge. So some kind of I don't know if it's for material scientists to come up with something which can be reused or repurposed, or even e-commerce cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
Each house has a pile of them. I have it, you know, in spite of trying, I still have a pile of them.
Yeah.
So that to some extent, the packers and it gets used to some extent, but still there's a huge amount of all that. So
yeah, it's a tough one. I think let's say, for example, people who are working with as designers who are working with let's say consumer companies, they are also doing their bit, trying to do it, but a lot of it is still dependent on policy as well, as to what needs to be done with the big daddies of whether the Hindustan Levers to all of them. No, I think that's it needs to come down from them as much as a direction from the designer as well, if I'm making any sense.
Right. Yeah. Or even like making dispensers for shampoos and bring your own dispensers at supermarkets for a lot of bulk quantity items.
Yeah.
Groceries and things like that. So if we can come up with dispensers, just design dispensers which can dispense, so things like that. So
for example, in Goa we've got thrift shops, right, which is basically pre-loved clothes. We've got 3 shops in Goa which sell products exactly what you're talking. You bring your own container and then you take your grains, you take oil, shampoo and stuff. But yeah, it needs to come as a policy. It needs to come from the bigger corporates, who are I think the largest culprits of them all.
Thank you so much.
No, thanks.
So we have one question from Ganesh. Ganesh, go ahead.
Hi, Ganesh.
Thank you. Satyajit, very interesting products. When people think of sustainability, always they think of some very minimalistic and affordable and cheaper. But it was really interesting to know using sustainable approach, you are making exclusive products. Those are like fashion products, statements, which make statements. So
Right.
that was a very new direction, and I'm sure the creativity, the branding, the sense of aesthetics in the product that you presented is all amazing. Great. I have a question on sustainability,
Mhm.
in the sense that when we talk of sustainability, we have to probably consider the end-to-end life of a product.
Correct.
If something has to be made sustainable, there are two things that go into it. One is energy and other one is material use. And the energy starts from mining the material that is there, and it goes up to dumping it. The energy is consumed in all stages of use, manufacture, disposal, all that. So if you look at some of these products, I agree that those are reused and recycled from the abandoned or dumped materials. But if you kind of put this equation of totality,
Mhm.
for example, I mean, I'm not arguing and I don't know exactly how you are manufacturing, but
Right.
uh, sourcing something from an airport junkyard, bringing up to you also is a energy,
Sure.
right? Energy gone into that material, although a part of it is being converted into product. So every stage energy would be consumed, and when you dispose that product, that will also consume a bit of energy. So it will be interesting, and I would like to know if you have kind of made an end-to-end energy and material accounting, and what is the finding from that. Uh, in the process, this is making a lot of sense. It is giving a brand value, and it's giving a way of expression to people, and
Yeah.
functionally also they are very good. But is sustainability reusing the abandoned material, or it is something more than that? Is kind of
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Here's what I think and if we have the time, we should, and this is a larger question as well. So first part is that, um, in a sense, as much as we want everything to fall into the 100% circularity part of it, it's not going to happen, right? It's a myth that it's not going to happen. Correct? Even today, when we live our lives the way we do, um, we can have a conversation saying sustainable, but we still drive cars, and we still, we don't, and it's not possible to live 100% sustainable stuff. Now, coming to the products, I kind of have two approaches to this way of thinking of how to attack this. So on one line, whether it's let's say the tarpaulin, and I spoke about flex. We're talking about designing something from waste concrete. So there's one part of it which is very, very real, um, which we're like, for example, with the bags, apart from being close to 90%, 85 to 90% upcycled, we also have a policy whereby any bag which gets torn, and the way the bag is designed, it's built to last, right? So it lasts much longer than most other bags. But when it does tear, when it does fray, we have a policy where you send it back. We use the straps again. We if there is space of the tarpaulin, we convert those onto wallets, etc., etc. So we try our best to get that whole circular stuff, complete. We're not completely successful, to be honest, but we're trying. And the other side of it, which is the jewelry, um, which is the clocks, etc., etc. I think it's more of again, it's built to last. We make sure that it's built in a very strong, so that you don't have to buy another one. But I think it's more of an expression. It's more of getting people aware of the fact that, hey, listen, this is made from waste stuff. You know, um, it's something which gives the idea to people, even in the luxury segment, saying, listen, we don't have to use the gold which is there is used gold. which is melted from earlier ones. It's not freshly mined gold. So those ethics, we kind of keep it so that people are aware of it. So these are the two sides which I'm trying to do, and like I said before, I think 100% is it's damn difficult. Yeah. I mean, it's I wouldn't say impossible, but it's damn difficult. Yeah.
Okay, so we have 2 minutes and we have 3 questions. So we'll just
Okay.
go through it very quickly.
Yeah.
One question is from Charuta. Charuta says, to ensure the utility value,
Hmm.
do the sustainable products need to pass cycles of testing or validation?
100%. So we go through enough of the tensile tear quality of the materials, etc., etc. After the bag is made, we go through zip tests, jumping test, tests, all of that. And yeah, I think we are very solid on that. We're proud of the fact that that we can do that.
Okay, thanks. Raghuram, your question.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just quietly thinking when you are presenting, you showed some 4 or 5 products, right? All are very interesting products. But as an extension of what Namrata had spoken, that there are industries where there are, huge amount of wastages which could be used for upcycling or downcycling. So I just wanted to know, is it possible any one product, whatever the materials across pan India, which is easily available for upcycling or downcycling, which you can take, where you can build a system and easily replicate? Maybe a team of 5 or 10 people can be just built. It's a kind of a produced with a chain of, which could be easily replicated, and where there are huge system of both the quality as well as, putting the system in place. Is it possible such kind of a brand? See, you mentioned the thought has to come from top, like Hindustan Lever and things like that in packaging.
Right.
I'm just talking of the other way around. We need not have to go to the big guys. We can go to a small people from bottom to the top strategy.
Right.
I'm just saying. So is it just possible? Do you think any one product we just take it? I think it will also generate a huge amount of employment, and by just training them. And so
Absolutely.
it's just
Absolutely. I think it's possible. And this is something which we are trying, like I said, on this particular side, which is your flex. Flex is a material which we're not just trying to make bags and stuff. We are in the process of designing sleeping bags for the homeless, right? Really basic ones, which are lined with material from NGOs, like bed sheets and stuff like that. We're designing tents, right, for the homeless and cases like this. So it's a process which takes damn long, and trying to get the right partners. But in terms from a design, I think that's one area which actually can work out, because you can, like you said, you can have, let's say, small teams in 3 different cities. In fact, we have worked down from the guys who actually print the flex, the guys who own the billboard banners. We've spoken to them as well, who we actually trace the life cycle of that damn flex from printing onto the billboard. Then we can take, so it's, as a process, it can be done. I think it's and you can actually get a whole bunch of flex. As I'm just giving an example of a material, can be done 100%. But I think the connections need to be there, because let's say, as a single designer, or let's say even a team, or even if it's a large design house, to do it on their own, it's damn tough. Yeah, it's damn tough. But the heart is there, and the want to do it 100%. There's no taking away from that. Yeah.
So we have one,
Nice.
we have exceeded our time, but there is one small question from Ankur. He says, is this the tarpaulin that you use, is it virgin tarpaulin, which is manufacturing excess, or is it pre-used tarpaulin?
No, it's not. It's not pre-used tarpaulin, because pre-used tarpaulin, we did a whole bunch of tests. It gets buggered up like so quickly and so fast, because at the end of it, when the person wants to buy a product or buy a bag, he's not going to accept the fact that, okay, it's upcycled and it's okay if within 2 months it gets destroyed. I'm going to put that money down the drain. So it is virgin plastic, but it's the waste excess which gets chucked off, which goes either into the landfills or it's sold to a second, third, guy who uses it for covering his roof and stuff like that. So yeah. But what we do is, tarpaulin is one part. Just quickly, we also use canvases from old army. We've got a big source of that coming in. So all your old canvas, which is far more truer than, in that sense, what Ankur is, not Ankur, sorry, who was asking the question about, whether it's virgin, and for the purists in that sense. So yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Satya. Thank you for the lovely talk.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much.
And I think we had some good engaging conversation also after that. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And we'll see you again next week in our 50th talk. I'll stop recording now.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks, Nimesh. I'll catch you.